Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is SoulMountain64, and it's finally time to tackle the question, what do I think of Battlefield Hardline? Is it a good game? Is it worth the $60? And you guys picking it up if you haven't already. I have put in so much time into this game, from the alpha to the beta, and even before the beta, going down to San Francisco, testing this game out, speaking with some of the developers, recording footage for you guys, and it's finally here. Played it on the Xbox One for about 10 hours and still thinking about picking it up fully for the Xbox One, but I am a PC player, so keep that in mind as you do hear this review. But this should apply to everything, and I'm definitely curious of what you guys think in the comments down below, whether you have the game and what you think about it, or why you haven't picked it up if you haven't gotten it yet or never will. I now have a gold service star with every class in the game, so I've got quite a bit of experience, with some classes being more of my favorite, and I'll talk about that in another video coming soon. But I also have way too much hours into the game, as well as I'm level 80. I know some of you guys are higher than me, but that's pretty good for me, especially working full-time and doing all these videos. So, it's time to get into this. Overall, is it worth $60? On top of that, the additional $50 for premium, plus the additional $10 to get the deluxe version to get the extra guns. If you don't have any other games, if you've got them all, or you aren't interested in anything else right now, it is a fantastic pickup. I don't regret any of my purchase, and I know other people who have said initially they did regret it, or when they didn't even want to purchase it in the first place, but they just did, and now they've really been enjoying it. It is a high cost to play this game, especially when you compare it to previous Battlefields. That's the biggest comparison point. Battlefield 4, Battlefield 3 all had absolutely massive scale, massive destruction, huge player counts, and it was just revolutionary playing those. You had air warfare, ground warfare, in addition to tanks and tons of different vehicle options that just made the game feel so massive. When you're talking about this game, it's not quite got that massive scale to it. It's more infantry, and there's 9 different maps that aren't necessarily as giant. The destructible environment isn't quite all there, but at the same time, I don't think the destructible environment would have been appropriate for this game and how it actually plays. This isn't a giant map with tanks and things where if you level a building, it's not really going to change the way the game is played. Going in that building in general was completely optional. In this game, that's how it is in Battlefield 4, right? You can take a building down somewhere, the map's still giant, it doesn't necessarily matter. In this game, if you take a building down and you flatten it, especially like on the block, then there's not very many other buildings that you can really go into. If you could destroy the Blood Money House, the one that's in the middle, completely, the whole thing would be flat. The whole map would just be a flat rectangle you'd be playing on. You need to have that cover so that way you can move up, and it creates a more dynamic flow. And a lot of people won't like me saying this, but it does feel more like Call of Duty by taking it more infantry, but at the same time still having a lot of the Battlefield aspects. You have perks that you go up rather than kill streaks, things like that. In addition, you have the different classes that you can choose from, which makes such a classic Battlefield game, as well as a lot of other games where you have different classes, and I love having that feel within these games. In particular for myself, I was previously a very big Call of Duty fan. That kind of I lost some interest in that, started playing Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, and I've kind of been converting my channel into Battlefield lately, but it's just what I've really been enjoying, and Battlefield Hardline was a really good medium between that. In particular, when I was playing Battlefield 4, I loved the sniping, I loved the jet gameplay as well, but the sniping in general, having to deal with bullet drop, a lot of those aspects, and having actual bullet projectiles rather than just instant lasers, that's really appealing to me, and having to try and figure that out, again, on top of the classes and the very fast-pacedness, or how fast-paced this game is. This was really the perfect medium for me in terms of, I love this game. In terms of the actual gameplay, it's not your classic Battlefield. If you guys have been playing Battlefields for the last 10 years or so, or whatever amount of time, it's going away from their classic guideline. And I think, if anything, this game might even cater more to non-Battlefield players who love all the destruction, the vehicles, and everything. This is almost more bringing on newer players into the series, and I think that might be why we see a lot more console guys taking to this game. If you guys have seen the stats on this, the PC has been maybe like 10,000 people playing every day on average or so, 10 to 20,000, whereas the consoles are getting 50 to 70,000, especially the PlayStation 4 has been seeing a ton of love from this game, and I think it's really catering to kind of the more console players, the more Call of Duty type players, and it's bringing in some of the guys that like the more fast-paced, more arcade-type shooter. It doesn't have all of the more realistic Battlefield aspects to it. That's something that has always divided Battlefield, where you have more realism. It's not necessarily completely real, but it's not like an Arma 3 type of game, but it is more realistic, and taking this game, it kind of takes a step back from that and is really feels like just a one-off fun alternative game to play for Battlefield. It's almost like a mod, and that's what people have been saying for so long since this thing, before it even came out. It's really just feels like a mod for the game where you can play different game modes and stuff, but that's where some of the frustration comes with people, where why spend full $60 on a game that's not really a completely new game. It's just got some minor tweaks, but some of the minor tweaks have been really good, and had this game just been a mod, it wouldn't have turned out as fun and as smooth as it really has, I think, and that's kind of where some of that extra cost comes in. Plus, the developers, they gotta, at least EA, whether it's right or not, they're trying to take advantage or get as much money as they can out of the people who are willing to spend that much anyways. And, that's what it turns out. Now, I think this thing should only be $40. Would have absolutely increased the amount of people playing it. I know a lot of people are waiting for GTA 5 PC, which I'll be getting as well as Battlefront, of course, coming out at the end of the year, which, if you are thinking of getting this versus Battlefront, if this is going to be your game for the year or whatever, wait until Battlefront. I have a great feeling about that game. I think it's going to be insane. But in terms of the merits of this game, it is extremely fun, fast-paced, and it's a mix between different games. It's not your classic Battlefield. If you are that classic Battlefield player, maybe this won't be for you because it doesn't have all of the features that are in Battlefield. The destructible environment, the unlocking system, a lot of things are new. And on that more granular level, let's start with the unlocking system. I love this system. It harkens back to Black Ops 1, which was one of my personal favorite systems, and in my opinion, they could have done even a lot more with this, and still can with DLC, for example, wager matches. Now that this is just cash, it'd be awesome to go and actually gamble that cash in games, or just stake it. Put stakes in and do even free-for-all mini-games. Bring back some of the mini-games that were in previous Battlefields, like gun game type thing in Battlefield 3, where you cycle through all the different weapons. I think there's a lot more that they can even do with this cash system, but it works. Essentially, you just need to use cash to unlock whatever gun you want to. The weapons license was a good idea, but people think that there's not that many guns in this game because each team only has really 2 main guns, and compared to previous Battlefields, definitely not many guns. But if you can weapons license unlock all of the guns, then you've pretty much doubled everything that you're actually seeing there, and there are quite a good amount of options. In my opinion, the weapons license should have only been, right now it's 1,250 kills, which is 1,000 for gold camo, 1,250 for weapons license, which is a lot. This thing should have been set at even 250, 500 kills. That way you can unlock it and start playing with it on both sides, because doing 1,250 kills with every weapon is going to be quite a grind. And if you like one particular gun or anything, or if you want to have your full weapon selection, it's not necessarily as nice being forced to use it on one specific side. Of course, that is one of the mechanics of this game, and that's just my opinion. But I do like how the unlock system works, and I like how the assignments work as well, having the final gun to unlock within each category. Some of the specifics with how to unlock those guns are extremely frustrating, though, and I feel like more time could have been put into that, including the camera coins for the 300 knockout. It is, you know, a challenge to get that thing, and it's cool being able to work towards it, but when it becomes hair-pulling that if you have a camera down and your buddy also has a camera down and only one person can be spotted within that area, and then it takes, you know, 50 games to get this thing unlocked while you're not even playing the game, you're just putting these little cameras down all over the place, that becomes more frustrating than enjoyable. And at that point, it's not really that great. But when you do have it unlocked, and some of the other assignments are more straightforward and more fun, where you're just playing the class and getting things unlocked for it, and maybe you're doing something in specific, but it's not quite as tedious. In terms of classes, I think they did a fantastic job. Some of the balance needs to be tweaked, for sure, and they've already addressed that with a patch that's going to be coming, and of course we don't know when, which is another gripe of, it'd be nice to get some more information on this stuff, or dates and things, especially with premium. I've already spent the $50 for premium, and we're still waiting on that with no real specific dates. That, I feel, has been a bit lacking, but anyways, getting back to the point, the classes in general, a lot of the changes are awesome. The engineer having the spawn beacon, taking it away from the sniper, I hope that change continues forward, because that has been one of my favorites in terms of playing the objective myself, as well as even other teammates. It has been so nice being able to just have spawn beacons near objectives and actually having the SMGs be very powerful in close range. Not saying that they weren't in the past, but appropriately powerful for where they are, minus the K10, of course, but again, patch coming. In addition, the sniping is on point in this game, and it's something that I had some frustrations about in the beginning because of the Magnum rounds, which were one-shot kills for 80 meters out in the beta, right? And I think this turned a lot of people away from the game. Maybe they don't even know that this was changed in the full version, but the snipers have definitely taken a step back, and in terms of the different sniping aspects, minus now the Magnum rounds being so just completely pointless, the snipers are very balanced in terms of what you want to use. Each sniper has its role, and none of them are overpowered. In fact, it's very balanced. I'll just put it that way. The operator, which is generally the medic, the one that's been always not overpowered, but generally the strongest, what most people always go to, always play, I don't see very many at all. In fact, I would love to even see more people with health medkits and revives, which has never been a complaint about me in Battlefield before. It's always so many people with it, including myself, because it's just so powerful always having the medkit to throw down. Now having a slightly longer period of time to actually throw the thing down to get meds out, and having health just randomly on the walls, having teammates being able to just pick it right up off of medics, and having so many other options with gadgets has beautifully balanced this thing, and I think the classes overall have been excellent. If anything, the last one I haven't talked about, the Enforcer, could have had a little bit more power behind it, with the breaching charges being not quite as useful in this game with no tanks and things to take down, although it definitely still does have its use. The riot shield, it's not one of my particular favorite classes to use, but there are definitely a lot of people running it. In terms of maps, I think there's a lot of diversification. Again, there's not a lot of destructible environment, but I think the places that do have it, and a lot of the levolutions, Michael Bay, I think, was in charge of all the level. There was a lot of explosive, awesome levolutions that still don't get old, but aren't quite map destroying, like we see with Siege of Shanghai, where everybody starts freaking out and getting pissed once that thing, not everybody, but especially when the game first came out, because everybody kept on taking the thing down, taking the tower down, and then the whole map turns all white and dusty. And this, it's kind of more minor changes, but it can have effects on the map and how things are played. Like in Grow House, if you explode the giant car in the back, it creates new vantage point or new ways that you can go into the Grow House, and makes it a bit more dynamic with some of those things. In the end, I just hope that going into Battlefield 5, they actually learn a couple of things from Battlefield Hardline. especially in terms of, like, for example, simple things like you see the conquest, where you can actually have an outline of the conquest point, as well as med kits and ammo packs, being able to just pick it up right off of the other players. I feel like this was a test to try out some of the more unique things about this game, see what people like, and maybe we can incorporate some of that into our Battlefield 5 or whatever comes next. As well as the game modes. We saw a lot of new stuff with these game modes. It wasn't just a complete bringing in all of the old ones into this game. This was heists, which were extremely fun, and the uniqueness between the different maps and how they flow were excellent. The Blood Money game mode is my personal favorite. It is extremely fun, having to choose between picking up more cash, running back, having the one objective in the middle. You can pick up other teams' cash, go to their base, steal their cash directly from it. An excellent game mode. Plus, of course, you have some classics, Conquest and TDM being brought in there, which TDM on 64 players was very, very fun, especially on some of the smaller maps and the way that they let us just play whatever we want to on some of these setups. But I think sometimes you got to bring it back down to play on the appropriate size for some of these things. And the lacking points were rescue for me, as well as crosshair, but that I felt like was already expected. This game and how it's set up, having the servers, dedicated servers to it, not being able to necessarily go in with a full squad already preset, makes it difficult. And the way that you can enjoy this, the way that I have at least, is playing 6v6 or whatever against friends and getting a whole squad together in your own server. But of course, it's expensive to own a server or to try and set that up. It takes at least 5-10 minutes setting everything up if you're going to try and find a random game and then switch the teams and everything, whereas in other games you can just go in automatically and have it already set up. So I think that's one of the more difficult points with that. But in terms of gameplay, Rescue's an awesome mode, having to save one of the civilian or hostages, and Crosshair was a bit lacking from everything that I've played, although it was much more faster in terms of you didn't have to go there and back. It was just a one direction way that you really had to go, and it was decent, but I haven't put much time into it, and I don't think I'm going to be playing much more of it unless, again, I'm playing with a full squad and we set it up. In conclusion then, Battlefield Hardline, in my opinion, is an excellent game. Is it worth the full 60? That's going to be up to you. It's not a full Battlefield, but it's an extremely fun variation of it, and that's really the key. It's fun. It's just a one-off fun game. At least that's what it is to me, and I absolutely would buy it again, and will be enjoying this game for at least another month or two here. So plus once DLC starts coming out, we'll be talking about that, and it'll definitely get interesting. If you are new to my channel, you enjoyed, be sure to subscribe. I'm going to be doing a ton more Hardline videos, as well as Battlefield 4, Battlefront, GTA PC. You can also drop a like on the video, and definitely leave a comment down below what you thought of my thoughts on this. Don't necessarily hate on me because you don't like the game. Just let me know in the comments what you think about it, as well as what you thought about my review on it. And if you guys think I can improve it anyway, just let me know. I'd be happy to read any of the comments there. Tried to make this one a bit more longer with a lot of detail for you guys because I've been getting a lot of questions about this, and I just wanted to have one great go-to video to send people to, and hopefully you guys did enjoy it. Thanks so much for watching. You can check out my previous video with some top 5 Battlefield Hardline plays. If you guys are enjoying Hardline at all or want to see some of the epic stuff, the fun stuff that can happen, best place to see it. Or the recommended video with my YOLO on the Battlefield series with my last Hardline episode, and definitely more of those to be coming. That wraps this video though. Really appreciate your guys' support, and I'll see you in the next video. This is StillMount64 signing out.